Rich Rising, everyone. Welcome back to another beautiful, beautiful morning and another awesome day of the closing table. I'm your host, James Garman.
This is Daniel White. James, I think with that intro music, my friend, I feel like we should talk about the aliens first.
Oh, really? So that's on the table first, you think?
Oh, no way, man. How's your morning?
Oh man, listen, the morning is amazing. I have no complaints at all. Again, beautiful day. We had some rain yesterday. We've been having rain on and off, and I'm at the point now where I just wish it would rain. Like, just stop teasing me with the water and just give it to me. It's like,
well, you guys had a tough one yesterday, right? Like they were predicting hail and all kinds of stuff coming.
Yeah, man, and that's why I hate meteorologists, man. They suck, and like, give me some new equipment or something that can actually let me know what's going on.
You sound like an old conversation I had when they say 20%, 30%. It's the entire state, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It's a big state there, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to rain on you. It's just the state's going to get some rain. So I get it, man.
It sucks so bad that we know that people give you this false narrative that, the weather is this and the weather is that, and they end up being none of the above. And again, it literally rained for 30 minutes yesterday, and I'm talking about it came down, and next thing you know, it was over with. It was like, well, damn, this weather prepared me to be in the house and just be like chilling for the rest of the day. And now I'm like, well, I can go outside and play basketball. Felt like I was in Florida.
I'm with you because I'd rather it rain at night, like right when I put my head on the pillow. You know what I'm saying? Like, knock me out there.
I totally agree with that, man. It's but yeah, how about your day? How was your morning going?
Hey, man, the week's been a roller coaster, but that's not a bad thing, right? Like, things are changing, things are moving, and super excited again for the future and what's happening. But everything so far. It's Thursday. We're closing out the weekdays. We don't take days off, right? So, no, everything's shaping up pretty good, man. Excited about today's meetings and all of that stuff. Hopefully the team and everybody's coming in, so that'll be nice, and we'll keep kicking ass.
Got you.
You guys got a busy weekend?
No, not too busy. Busy with open houses and things like that. We just constantly working, bro. I mean, like I said, it's too many holidays. I mean, I know I'm a great father. I don't need a treat. I don't need a present. I don't need to go out to eat. I mean, shout out to all the fathers. Shout out to all the parents who's supposed to be parents any damn ways. And I mean, my kids celebrate me all the time. I celebrate my parents all the time. I'm like, not keep putting special days aside to.
So if you woke up Sunday morning, James, and you didn't have a card or a flower or a cup of coffee or something, come on, man.
Bro, I really wouldn't.
You celebrate Mother's Day for your wife. You celebrate your kid's birthday. I'm telling you right now, my kids are listening. If I wake up and you don't have a card or a cup of coffee or something like that, trust me, you're going to start paying your own damn insurance. You're going to start paying your own bills.
I mean, okay? and trust me, I get it. But man, I keep telling you, I'm so over these damn holidays. Like, all of this money grabbing shit that we got set up, and now we got Juneteenth, just as Juneteenth. We got Pride Month, we got Father's Day, my wife's birthday. And after that, then it's my mother's birthday, then it's my daughter's birthday, my birthday, then it's let's do a family trip. It's always some bullshit to grab some money from you. I'm just honestly, I feel like I know my family appreciates everything I do. They show me that every day. I mean, if they want to do something, fine, but they don't have to. Besides, they'll probably be doing it with my money, so it doesn't even matter.
They're gonna take you to go see a movie or something like that.
I mean, honestly, and again, we go to the movies almost every week. Me and my daughter go probably once or twice a month, and I go by myself, and me and my wife go. I mean, if we're gonna do it, I mean, we already do it anyway, so it really wouldn't matter. I mean, I would appreciate it, but I'm not saying I need it. Let me put it like that: I don't need it. So.
Have you gone and seen the Transformers movie?
No, I think it came out this week, right? Or it came out last week?
Last week or something like that. So
no.
I think I'm headed there this weekend, man. I'm always, as a kid, I grew up with those toys and stuff like that. So I got to go see this movie because I like those movies a lot, man.
And I agree. I mean, with Transformers, I've always been a big fan. I just keep hating the reboots. We start off in the future, then we going back to the past now. We driving 1996 Porsches. Like I don't know. I may go see it. It's not something big. I watched Fast X, and that shit was pretty horrible when it came down.
Okay, I'm glad, James, I was going there. So we're on the same page this morning, my friend, because I was sitting there watching it, and the wife and I was like, hey, do you want to watch it? And she's like, what number are we watching? And I was like, 35.
And the crazy part about that is that they lied to us and said this was the last one when they didn't even finish it. Now they talking about part 2 of the last one. Like, come on, bro. I got to spend another $40 to bring my daughter here to finish the damn movie. It's crazy.
Man. We were sitting there, and I was like, "Man, it's just not getting. It's just not as good as it once was." But it's like that way with everything, right? Like
it's too long. It's too long of a series.
Are all your sales as good as your very first sale ever in the real estate, ever in the insurance business? It's not, man. It's tough to compete with that, right?
Yeah.
Like that first sale is amazing in the real estate business. You're like, man, I've done it. All the work is paying off, right? And I don't think anything is ever as great as that first moment when you get close.
I don't think it's that great unless you're exceeding the amount of that closing or the amount of that check. Because my first check, again, $7,000. Then my next check was like $2,000. Then it was like $1,500 because I did a rental. Then it was, then it starts to just incrementally be between $5,000 and $6,000, and then it's like once you get that big $40,000 or $50,000 or $30,000 check, that's a new high for you. It's like, oh, I got my first big check in real estate, and now you're trying to go at least close to that check every time. So it's never the same, but there's incremental pluses in those situations. But yeah, man, these movies are starting to really suck. But overall, good morning to everybody again. Welcome back. We definitely appreciate you all for tuning in every week. Good morning, B. Walker. Again, Daniel as well. Good morning. Dolores, good morning as well. Destiny, good morning. Great to have you here again. Always in here supporting, showing your husband much, much love. And again, my beautiful wife, B. Walker. Thank you so much. Overall, again, looking forward to seeing everybody else jump into the comment section, jump into the chat. We have a great conversation today. I honestly think this is a really good conversation. If you're tuned in, then you may want to jump in the comment section and be involved in this, because I think this conversation is kind of wrapped around in a little. We have a few benders. We have a few little twists and bends that can keep this conversation pretty interesting. So again, join in. Welcome. Daniel, starting off, man, I guess we need to go ahead and get into it. Are aliens real? And I know you just mentioned it, but definitely we want to, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to name this. The truth is that they are lying to you, because there's so many little, pockets of fabrication that happens in our economy, in our society, and it's been happening this way for a long time. I guess due to the fact that they always want to kind of cover up or not really expose everything that's going on in our American society, which is understood because not everybody is prepared to hear certain things. They're not prepared to actually be living in a society or world where these things are actually true. My biggest thing is when it comes to the alien situation, and I am referring to the one that happened in Las Vegas that, where the guys said they spotted an alien in their backyard.
Guys, family.
Yeah, family. And there's a lot of different, pictures and stuff floating around the internet. We don't know which ones are real with Chat GPT and OpenAI and all of these different places that can create, false imagery. We don't really know what's real. But they're really hell bent on saying these aliens are real. They're hell bent on saying that something fell on their house. The police say they didn't see anything, but really think there may have been something because they heard something land or crash as well. My thing is, I do not believe it. I don't believe it. I never will believe it until I see it for myself, because there's been 50, 60 years plus since Roswell, New Mexico, where people have been talking about aliens crashing and this and that. And out of all of the technology we have today, out of all the iPhones that can zoom in and see the dust particles inside my skin, I do not understand why it's so damn hard to get an alien, actual alien on camera. So please, somebody prove to me that these things are exist, because I can't believe it just from word of mouth. It just don't make any sense to me. I'm sorry.
Well, James, as a moviegoer, right, as you are, I mean, we see them in the movies, and we saw the country get shut down from from COVID and all that stuff, man. So, somebody's got a picture of something out there, but asking the question if aliens are real or not, I will tell you, I'm probably like most people. I've changed my stance, right? Like most people, just don't want to believe it at all, right? Um, hey, I haven't seen it. It's not there. It's not happening. I need to see it. I need to touch it to believe it that it's real, right? So I will tell you today, after watching that video, when I came into the office, I turned all the lights and everything on, and said I'm friendly with aliens and all of that stuff, because I didn't want one popping up knowing that we were going to talk about this today. But I will tell you, my grandfather is no longer here, but my grandfather and my wife would always talk and be like, there is no way in hell we are the only ones living here in this universe. Like, it's just impossible. And so on that notion, I'm going to agree with them at this point that you've opened my eyes in conversation and talking and AI and all of this stuff, is that I'm sure we are not the only ones that are out here. I'll be honest, I don't really want to see an alien. I don't want it to fall in my backyard. I don't want it to knock on my door if there's one. I'm good if I don't see that in my entire life,
And I can understand where you're coming from with that conversation, and with the perspective. And honestly, Destiny said it, just what you mentioned. As large as the universe is, there is no way we are the only life form. Again, never. I'm not saying we're the only life form. I'm thinking, again, if you look at how and what we consider life forms, any type of DNA or any type of distinguishable form of DNA coming from anywhere can be considered a life form. If it's, they quote unquote say they go to Mars all the time, and there's this they found a new form of life, but that's just a new particle. That's atoms, things that are forming, things that may not actually breathe. So that's my thing, is like, they say these things without giving us a defining notion of what that actually is. Now, do I think there are upright walking elements that can have the intelligence of humans out in the universe? I don't know, but I'm going to say, just from my lack thereof or full understanding, that there isn't anything like humans. I'm not saying that we're the almighty of our existence in this universe, but overall, I am saying I don't think there is anything proving it. Now,
did you ask AI, James?
I did not ask AI. Damn, why did I not ask AI? This is crazy. I got this. Dang, Danny, you just cracked the freaking code. I could have just asked AI. They know everything.
Exactly,
Right?
Man.
This shit don't make any sense. I didn't even think about asking AI. That's crazy. But honestly, though, I mean, technically, we could look at AI as an alien. Maybe AI implemented itself into our brains to be used this way, or to come to existence this way. So
I will tell you this though, right? Like, because you said, man, I want to see it. We can travel to Mars. We've got all these satellites out there. Just give it another year or two, we will have more satellites out there from us than we will have planets out there and stars. We'll catch something, James, and then you'll be a believer.
And I hear you. If it take all of that to capture one alien, that so happens all of these aliens are traveling here, and people are, hey, are aliens in my backyard? Are aliens here? Then, I mean, come on. At that point, it don't even matter. I mean, Bernadette is now talking about, come on, Bernadette, we got to go here to have a conversation because of the camouflage capabilities and mental ability to make you freeze in your tracks. Stop it. Stop it. Come on. Now we got to go to physiologies and quantum physics of, come on. No, we're not going there. We're not going there today. It's not happening. Aliens are not real, people. They're not real. Someone actually putting one of them damn things on the news and it talks to the president. Other than that, it's not real. So
James is holding his ground, ladies and gentlemen. He is
holding
holding his
I'm
ground.
holding
It's
my
not
ground.
real. It's fake. If I don't see it, I don't believe it.
If I don't see it, I don't believe it. Honestly, they say you got to believe half of what you hear and pretty much don't believe all of what you
I
see.
don't know the entire saying, James, but I've heard it before.
Yeah, something like that,
my
right?
grandmother right now is listening and probably saying the complete saying, right?
So my thing is, let's before we move on, let's just say this: if aliens are real, on the basis that they are real, what does that do? What does that do for the spiritual believers out here who believe in their savior and their this and that? Does that change the scope of what God or our holiness is in that point, or our spiritual holiness at that point?
James, we are jumping in head first, my friend.
I'm just saying, y'all brought up the aliens. Y'all brought up the aliens, so
James is on fire. James is on fire right now.
I have to ask the question. So anybody gonna give me the answer? If not, Danny don't want to give me that answer. So I'm gonna move on from that topic then.
No, you give us your answer, James.
I can't give you my answer. My answer is a rebuttal answer. I have a rebuttal answer. So I'm a
again, but James, you could argue with them, right? You could argue with somebody. Well, again, have you seen it? Have you touched it? Right? Like, I mean, there's people out there, what alien God, whatever religion is, like, have you seen it? You can read about it. We read about aliens. We read about religion, all of that stuff. So, it's just personal preference.
Personal preference. And I just choose to. I'm gonna stray away from it. I'm gonna just stray away from it. But we have the American debacle of Trump going on here, and I call it the debacle because I really do think this is it's another fabricated situation now that we're pushing on to get this man out of the way. And I'm thinking, like, why are we going so hard, spending so much of our time and resources trying to get rid of a man who hadn't done a crime? He actually hadn't. His hands is clean. They're trying to Watergate Trump. How the hell do you Watergate Trump and he did nothing of the such? This is my concern with the American people right now. We have to stop allowing the government to just create these narratives, whether it's Republican or Democrat. We have to stop allowing government to create these narratives. So how you feeling about this American debacle of Donald Trump right now?
Well, okay. So, we started here the conversation about Donald Trump, right? But a president can take documents and declassify them. And that's the argument on all sides. Biden, Trump, all of that stuff, right? The difference between the two is the way that it was handled when asked if you had these documents. And Donald Trump is really good at answering a question, but going around that question and answering. He's really good at that. Like, he's a salesperson. Like, that's in his blood. With both of these presidents and their families and these documents and all of that stuff, it's ridiculous the amount of documents that they have. It's not like they took a folder home with them. This is boxes and boxes of information that should be archived or should be in the U.S. government. It should not be in somebody's closet, boathouse, wherever it is. So again, I definitely think that they are going way overboard on Trump, trying to prove a point. And it's a little crazy. But again, at the end of the day, Trump, Biden, any other president, Obama, whomever, Hillary Clinton, none of them should be taking documents from our government home. There's no point in it. Like, do you have documents in your house, or do you have stuff scanned in and it's done? Like, are you saving them? Are you saving your taxes from 10 years ago? Like, why is that important for you to have? You don't need to go back. Your accountant can go back for you.
So, and you make some good points there. I totally agree with you. They're going way too hard on Trump, and maybe even the way we process these documents outside of our presidential campaign can be addressed. But this is the thing about it, though, Daniel. I think the biggest issue about all of this is the fact that we as Americans make these approaches, we make these, inclinations about what should happen and what shouldn't happen, which we cause a stir. But the real thing about all of this has already been um, a, this has already have a conclusion to it. It has already been settled because if you remember about 13 years ago now, the Clinton Sox case. The Clinton Sox case refers to which the right-leaning nonprofit Judicial Watch sought to assess 79 audio recordings from Clinton's interviews conducted by the historian Taylor Branch while Clinton was in office. So during his presidency, Clinton squirreled away the cassettes in the sock drawer when he was president. And after he left office, Clinton designated the recordings as personal records. Now, when it comes to what they consider is the presidential, what it's called the Presidential Records Act. The Presidential Records Act states that a president has the right to designate presidential records, as personal records. This is not a criminal case. If anything, it is a civil case when it comes to Donald Trump, but they're acting as if this would be considered criminal and uncivil to his presidency or as his former presidency. He has the right to keep all those records. Now I understand, don't get me wrong, I know the big argument is that, well, Joe Biden turned his over when they asked, or Pence turned his over, and he even called them back to say, hey, I think I found a few more documents that you may want to come and pick up. And the thing with Trump is that he gave them a hard time. He gave them a hard time when it came to turning over the documents that he had as president, a former president. And that's what they're getting him on. They're not getting him on the fact that he took the documents. They're really trying to paint a picture that he was giving them a hard time. He was being difficult. Now, being difficult deserve 400 damn years in prison because I'm being difficult. I mean, can we sum that up to medical issues like dementia and shit like that? I mean, come on. At what point is this something that we should actually be even in court about right now, when we already had a president set the standard of our judicial system when he won his case? Because we got to realize Clinton won his case. So this is the reason why Trump is standing on this right now. So
James, I agree with you, and I want to answer some of that, and then I want to answer B. Walker's, right? Okay. Definitely for ratings, right? Crap sells, hard nose, in your face, don't give a shit about you. It sells, right? TV ratings have dropped since Trump has been president, without a doubt, right? With COVID, with Trump, I mean, everybody was watching TV every single day. It's dropped drastically. That's why people are getting fired for other reasons, but really it's because they don't have the money. People are streaming now, all of that stuff, right? I would say that this does not stop him from running for president. Absolutely not. This is exactly what he wants. This is what he did when he was president of the United States, when he was running. He is going to get up in your face. He's going to smack you. He's going to keep telling you what you want to hear. People like a badass. Simple as that. You know what? People, the way that he is, the way that he gave them a hard time with those documents, yes. I mean, at some point, he should have stopped, but he didn't. He's got more attorneys, lawyers than you and I combined together. So he's got a legal team that is on call, probably sleeps in his downstairs bedroom. So, he's fully prepared for this. And we're talking about him. And we still have, it's June. We still have 15 months basically before the presidential election. And the hottest topic right now is AI, Trump, interest rates, stuff like that. I mean, he is winning at being at the top, even with all this bad news that's hitting him in the face.
I mean, yeah, because I mean that's the type of guy he is, as you just mentioned. He's the type of guy that is looking for a conflict. He wants a conflict because it separates him from the people who are always avoiding the conflicts. Now, not the type of conflicts that are put us in war type ordeals, but who that it kind of exposes who we really are at the core. You know, we are the type of people that sit around and watch what do we sit around and watch mostly? Conflict. We watch drama. We watch drama 24/7, whether it's on our social media pages, our TV shows, everything is based around some form of drama. You feel that without the drama, our circuits don't get to really moving. Trump knows this. Everybody else knows this. They just think they can beat him at his own game. And honestly, I don't think that's the case here. I don't think they're going to win this. I think this is going to honestly just be a waste of time and give him more fuel than he already needs to win this thing. And if he definitely wins this criminal suit, which shouldn't even be a criminal suit, he's definitely going to be a hole in one when it comes to presidential run. And I
Yeah,
and
James, James, I'll be honest. I don't even think he gets there. I think he just pardons himself. If he becomes president, I don't. I think the court systems are so backed up, and they'll keep delaying things and keep putting it off that it doesn't happen before the election. Um, but I can't wait for the debate. I think a debate is coming up in August. I cannot wait to see that panel. I don't know if it's on Twitter, YouTube, whatever it is, James, but we definitely better be on YouTube here watching that debate live and talking about it, because that's going to be crazy, man. There may be some fist flying at that debate between all these Republicans. And they're coming strong at Trump.
I mean, they have to. I mean, if you don't come strong, I personally think if they left him alone, he'll have a less chance of winning. But I think they're pushing or helping to push the narrative that Trump is this and Trump is that, which is causing even more, attention to his campaign, and that makes him look good. Like you said, people want a villain.
I think we should make a bet, James, on that debate. The first person I think he goes after is Christie. They've had some issues in the past and all that stuff. I think he stays away from DeSantis for a little while until DeSantis comes after. But I think he goes after Christie first, the New Jersey governor or whatever.
You think so?
Oh yeah, because they've had some harsh words and stuff like that, even when Trump was president. So I think he goes after him first. And then I think he kind of warms up to DeSantis, but they will have a battle back and forth at some point.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see. Honestly, I'm super excited about it, but I don't want again. I don't care about all the like we've talked multiple times. I don't care about all the back and forth um, advertisements. I mean, unless they get creative and they do something new. But all of this, it's been the same thing for the last 100 years, man. When it comes to these advertisements and these attacks at each other. I mean, overall, it's dumb. But when it comes to the ratings, as Bernadette just spoke about, I do agree. The ratings are one of the reasons why we have so much Trump in the news. And if people haven't noticed, and me and Bernadette had this conversation the other day, if people haven't noticed that Fox is now Trump bashing more than they ever have, is because CNN is now Trump supporting. It's like if you look at the different angles that they're pushing since Tucker Carlson has left, and Bernadette just mentioned it, and since Tucker Carlson has left, there has been more Trump bashing on Fox than there has ever been. The thing about the news is that when you look at the overall structure of it, Fox has been killing the game in ratings. So now they need to get some of those ratings back to CNN, because we have to realize all of this crap is owned by the same people. All these news outlets are owned by the same organizations, the same corporations in one form or another. And before they allow CNN to fail, they will allow CNN to overnight become Trump supporters. Now, this is crazy to me, but it's real. It's part of the structure. It is part of our American policies to keep our news outlets at front and center. Because what is the news? The news is what keeps everybody in tune and on the same page. If they come out and say aliens are real, every news channel are coming out to say aliens are real. If they just want to keep a 50-50 split down the middle, then 50% of the news stations are going to say aliens do not exist. The other 50 are going to be in support of aliens existing. This is how they control the populace and the narration of how we think and we maneuver in our society. Now, overall, they're doing the same thing right now with Donald Trump and Biden. One news channel who used to criticize both or criticize one or the other are now shifting their perspectives to gain new populace to their channel.
Correct. Yep.
They need new people to come watch their channel, and people who love Fox are going to say, well, Fox is starting to suck. I'm going to watch CNN. And then when they go over to watch CNN, they find out, oh, this is where all the new Trump support is, and they're going to stick around there. It's just moving one piece of cattle to a new herd and just moving things around. It's just what it is. And I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I just don't fall for it anymore. That's just my thing.
Well, I will tell you this, because I subscribe to like both of them, right? So I get like news updates and flashes and all of that stuff. And it's funny that you say that, because I didn't even think about this, but because I don't watch the news. I don't watch Fox. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch MSN, NBC, or BBC, any of that stuff. I don't watch that stuff. I get all my, news information, everything, either reading our morning updates, stuff like that, or, going on YouTube and watching some videos of some people that just aren't biased in their ways. Right. So, but I do get news updates. And lately it has definitely been Trump, CNN, Trump, CNN. And it's not like it's Trump's done it again. He's in trouble. It's like, hey, stuff you want to read, about things that he's doing. Whereas before, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was a lot of Fox. It was a lot of Fox News about Trump and stuff like that. And this difference was CNN was saying Trump's going to be, jailed and all that crazy stuff that comes on your phone with the two channels.
Sorry about that, but yes, you're totally right about that. So Bernadette said because they had to get back to a liberal narrative, Tucker's killing their illusion, and the majority of the population is liberal in mainstream media. I do agree with a lot of that. Overall, I just think it's more of a money play. I don't even think they care to that degree. But moving on, we have next up on the agenda. No interest hikes for June, which is a plus. That's a plus.
That's a win. I'll take that.
But is it really a win? If so, please explain to me. Please.
It's summertime, right? Yesterday they came out and stated that they're not raising the interest rates, which, is good. I've had a couple of closings and the rates have been like 6.4, 6.6. We are teetering with 7%, depending on your credit score and stuff like that. So, but no raise. They did state that we'll probably have 2 more raises, which by the end of the year. But I kind of expected this, James. We're in summertime. People are going to be traveling, doing things, or families are trying to get in positions for kids' schooling and all of that stuff. So I definitely think it's a good thing, right? I would still tell people to go and buy. It's better than renting and making somebody else rich. What are your thoughts?
My thing is overall, I'm fully invested in telling people, hey, there's no point of waiting. This interest hike is okay. You're not, if you buy this month, you'll have a better chance of getting a house, but that's no different than slowing it down to get people comfortable, just like the 1% down payment situation. We're going to be putting people in these properties, in these homing situations that probably going to have a hard time in the near future, maybe 1 or 2 years, maybe even 3 years down the road, where they feel like, okay, well, I can't, get 2 or 3 houses, but I can get a house big enough that I feel like this is something I need or deserve, versus buying something that's more conducive. I had a guy that reached out to me yesterday, really good guy, but he wanted to purchase a house here in Georgia. I think he's moving from Mississippi. I got a referral on Facebook, on social media. And I had a conversation with him, and he's been getting beat out in the price point. Again, we already know 200,000 is a price point that a lot of investors work around in because they have cash to do that. But he want to buy a $200,000 house, and I had to be honest with him. What $200,000 house don't get you $400,000 worth of amenities, because I
Yeah.
mean that's the thing that most people think, like, hey, I have a $200,000 budget, but my house should look like it should be worth 500, and that's not the case. So I mean, overall, if you can't change a person like that perspective, they will go to a predatory lender who can say, well, no, I can get you 325, and give
With
you all
all of
the
these terms on the
terms,
backside,
yeah,
that
on
you
the
don't see,
backside.
but you sign.
You signed, but
Yep.
definitely. So that's the issue for me, is that I think it's going to create more of a convoluted approach to purchasing houses versus having a traditional approach where you can afford it, everything looks good. This is something that is in your price range, and I think we need to keep it as a hike. We know business is going to, I mean, no interest hike this month because again, business for the summertime is going to be booming. It's already booming. Like houses are selling in 3 or 4 days. Like if you list a house, it's going in 3 or 4 days. Now people are still telling me that the housing market is down and is this and that, but it's not. It's literally booming right now. And this is going to separate the people who are out here really grinding to make money in this industry versus the people who sit on their hands hoping that the business come to them. So definitely, this is a time to really test your skills as an agent. But overall, this interest, when people hear this, no interest hike for June, when they hear this and it's already halfway in through the month, they're going to get on their damn phones, call their local agent, and purchase a house. I guarantee you that's going to happen. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you, James. I mean, that's why I say it's a win all around. I mean, people have waited for a really long time for the housing market over the last 12 to 18 months to crash, right? Just to fall flat on its face, 2008, 2011, all over again, all that good stuff. And it's not. I mean, at the end of the day, besides our banks collapsing and inflation and all of that stuff, we we have held it together, guys. We
yes,
we we really have.
and
Um,
and honestly, go ahead, finish your statement. But I
you
think
know,
it's a great
it,
segue into the next one.
yeah, gotcha. So I mean, when it comes to the feds, they're doing they're never going to please everybody, right?
True, true.
Everybody wants the rates much lower, 3%, 4%. Unfortunately, we just can't sustain that way. So I do see that we're going to have some rates, a couple more rate increases. I do look for our interest rates when we're done with a reset. I said inflation reset. I think we're going to be somewhere around between 4.7, 5.25. It's probably going to be a good interest balance rate once everything gets settled.
I would agree with you if we didn't have such a polarizing increase in our numbers when it comes to our economy, and that's going to
Well, I'm not
separate.
saying tomorrow, James. I'm talking like maybe next year when
I,
the
I'm
thing.
I'm having a lot of conversation with mortgagers, experienced mortgagers, people who are literally living, breathing this. And honestly, they're saying average between 6.75 and 7.5 on a standard basis, because that's normal. Like we are so comfortable looking at these 4 and 5% that we think that that's where we should be. But I'm gonna shoot for. I will put my money between 6.75 and 7.5 with them, maybe even 8. And I don't think we'll go to 9 or 10, but I think we may be comfortably sitting in 6.75 to 7.5, 7.5 for the next 5 to 10 years.
Whew, that's a long time. I don't know if that you're talking at that type of rate. We're looking at housing prices and mortgage payments right now. The housing market will crash. We have to put people in houses. We have to put people in homes that are affordable. If right now people aren't really selling their homes, like I do not want to sell my home right now at 2.8% interest rate and go pay 6.5, 7% interest rate. Why would I do that? I'm
Because you
paying double in interest
right,
on my
but
property. You're
I
talking another $1,500 a month
And I agree with you,
and the
but
mortgage payment.
it,
But James, at some point, if it lasted for 5 or 10 years that way, I mean, construction would decrease drastically. Uh, it would be insane. That's a long time. I don't necessarily. I mean, again, we love to agree to disagree. I think that is way too long of an interest rate to be for the next 5 or 10 years.
but it was
I
that,
think
but it
the
was that way.
shortest next year.
But I'm saying, but it was that way from 1992 to 1998, and we had an increase in our economy. That's what I'm saying. You have to take the interest rates up due to the fact that inflation is real and people are making more money than they have ever made. So with that being said, that's why that's a good conversation to this next segue. Because again, I don't knock the fact that if you got your house at 2.25% and you want to move to a new home, well, you shouldn't sell that house. You should take out a refinance, go get that and put that into a new property, or take out, or go just get a new property because you're going to keep a lot of that money in your pocket. So people are making a lot more money. So they understand that they have to tax on that money in some form or fashion. But let's talk about the new
No, well,
landlords.
all right. So you're the picture there is correct, right? Like ideally, that's kind of what you should do, right? If you've got this low interest rate, you've got this low mortgage, you you could take out a home equity line. I mean, the rate's still higher, but the problem is the salaries aren't there. So if you're making the household income, say $70,000, and you've got this $300,000 house at a 2.5% interest rate, and you owe $100,000, you're like, all right, hey, love, let's take out a home equity line. Let's go buy $150,000 home, put a mortgage on it at buy a $200,000 home. You put $100,000 down. That payment at an interest rate as a second home is already at 6 or 7% interest. It's higher than the standard rate because it's a secondary property, but your income isn't coming up. So, and what happens? Yes, I can rent that house out. I'd have some passive income, but you and I both know, James, as a renter, you wait for this phone call, and every time your renter calls you, you feel like it's more money coming out of your pocket. Your taxes are higher. Your taxes are higher. And what if they only stay with you for 12 months and then they leave? Now you have a vacancy happening. So, that's where I think, honestly, as a country, as the feds are looking at it, I don't think it will be 5 or 10 years with these type of rates. I think at some point we say, okay, we're steady. Let's keep the pace.
And again, that steady pace is an illusion, because that illusion is also based off the inflation, the fact that people overspend. No matter how much money they make, they overspend. We go out and buy shit all the time that we don't need, which is constantly driving up the inflation rate, right? Because nobody's saving money. Because again, we all against saving money, right? Because we don't make any money off them saving. So people are getting smart, but they also don't know what to do with the money if they don't save it. So they spend it. But the new landlord structure is pretty much, if we look at New York right now is offering residents up to $150 a night per immigrant to rent out their rooms. Houses of worships, I'm talking about churches, anything they can find, they're paying up to $150 a night to rent out their rooms to foreign immigrants, whether they're legal or illegal. That's up for debate. But the thing about this new landlord situation, this is a part of the bigger plan. You will own nothing. If you're not getting into the mindset of being a landlord today, having housing for those who can afford it and house hacking everything that you own, meaning putting 7-10 different people into one spot because you have 7 rooms, you're going to miss out on opportunity. But also we're just creating another slum village. We're creating more of a slum village, because that's honestly, if people start taking their Airbnbs right now, because in cities like New York and in cities like Georgia, where people bought these condos in these places to have Airbnbs, now they're outlawed, pretty much outlawed. You can't have them, but you're going to now have these places to house these immigrants at a way higher rate than you would have been at if you just Airbnb it out for a night to a regular family. So if you have a 4 bedroom Airbnb in the side of a city of Atlanta, now you're making almost $800 a day housing people versus the $300 you was housing one family for 2 days.
So you said it's happening in New York. It's happening in Georgia as well.
Yeah, we already I think they're accepting $7 million or $70 million to pay for housing. They're preparing that right now. New York is receiving over 700 migrants a day. Come on. They're receiving over 700 new migrants a day.
I don't think DeSantis is letting that happen. I'm just
I don't
joking.
think that's
I
going to
don't know.
happen.
I don't know
I
how
don't think that's going to
important.
happen. But
What's that?
if he looks at the money first, then we got a different situation. But this is the thing, though. This is one of the conversations I wanted to
Well,
get
New
into.
York, James, though, but New York has a lot of commercial buildings. I mean, that are vacant.
So does
I
China.
mean, they could do
So does
something
China.
there.
So does China. But but China isn't giving people free places just because they got a lot of commercial buildings.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. But the thing about it is, real quick before we move forward, well, you can always let an illegal immigrant live with you for $125 a day. That's true. If I had a house, I would let someone stay with me for $125 a day. Sounds good, but I just might only sound good. True. And yes, what's going to happen is that they get those immigrants in the NYC will cut funding and impose squatter laws where you can't evict them. I agree to all three of those statements. But the true question is, here's the true question. We know we got a new landlord situation happening where you can make a lot of money as a person who owns some property. And if you just can't get it to the point where you're like, hey, I need to sell this and it's not selling, this is a great opportunity for you to rent out your place and make some really good money if it doesn't go against your moral compass of how you feel about immigrants or quote unquote illegal foreigners. So this is the thing, though. This is the big question, though, Daniel. How immigrants how the immigrants helps our economy. Do you think this is a plus, having immigrants move into our country, getting these stipends and these supplements? Is it a plus or a negative? And I want to know this from everybody in the comment section. How does having immigrants in our state help our economy, or do they hurt our economy? That's the
Well,
big question.
James, like you said a little earlier when we were sitting here talking, that people, if rates go down, people spend more money, all of that stuff. So if somebody's getting $125 a day for a room, or $150, whatever it is, I'm saying 125 because that's what's on the chat here. It's going to put money in their pocket. And what are they going to do? They're going to spend money. Obviously it increases the community, the county, the state that it's in, and all that stuff. Though scary as hell as well, right? Like, you don't know, like, what kind of background checks are done, like who is moving into your house and who is doing that check. If there's no checks and balances, hey, you let somebody in on your house and you don't know who you're renting to, there's not a background check, you don't know what's going on, they're not being watched or looked at or investigated, whatever it is, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, like, you're at your own risk. But I do feel that a lot of people would definitely open up their doors for $125, $150 a day for a room or so. I mean, if you're living by yourself and you're struggling, why wouldn't you? But again, I mean, what kind of checks and balances are in place for that stuff? I don't know.
Bernadette said it hurts American jobs, medical care, and food. They are already taking away from American resources.
But
Our
with
food
that
supply.
there, like, if the government is already providing them with the landlord $125 a day just to house them, I'm sure there's some type of health thing there as well. Again, yes, that hurts us. We have to end up paying for it. But I don't know. I mean, I think it's crazy. I 100% think it's crazy. But if there are checks and balances in place and everything is done the right way, then what can you do? Hopefully they become law-abiding citizens and are contributing to the growth of America.
So I have some facts here real quick. When it comes to having more immigrants and how it can provide several benefits to the United States, just a few facts is what I'm gonna call them, and what's going on with our immigrant infrastructure and why they are implementing such a high, you know, pursuit of more immigrants. First of all, economic growth. Immigrants contribute to U.S. economy through their labor force participation, entrepreneurship, and innovation. They start businesses, create jobs, and particularly in sectors with labor shortages, which stimulates productivity and overall economic expansion. So that's number one. Then you have cultural diversity and innovation. Immigration brings cultural diversity, enriching American society with different perspectives, traditions, and ideas. The cultural exchange fosters innovation, creativity, and culture appreciation, which can positively impact various industries in our economy, like arts, music, and technology. Then we have workforce and skills. Immigrants contribute, especially we can talk about a lot of different uh, areas where they do bring in some infrastructure. Um, when it comes to helping to address labor markets needs and demographic shifts, the, they often possess skills and qualifications that are in high demand, like STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, healthcare, and other specialized sectors. I just went and got my teeth cleaned, and the lady that cleaned my teeth, she was Indian. This helps to fill critical skill gaps and boost competitiveness. Then we have entrepreneurship and job creation. Immigrants have a higher likelihood of starting businesses compared to native born individuals. They become entrepreneurs, creating job opportunities not only for themselves, but for others, and other immigrants owned businesses contribute as well. Then we also have technically consumer and economic demand. Immigrants, like all residents, contribute to consumer spending and increase the demand for goods and services. This also stimulates business growth and supports various sectors, including retail, hospitality, housing, and entertainment. Now, I know some people out there would say that, well, they only support each other. They only support Mexican business, only support Mexican business. They don't actually buy from us. They don't actually buy from other cultures. They just kind of keep their money in their sector. Well, if that's the case, shouldn't Americans keep their money in their sector? I don't know, baby. I mean, stop going to Chinese restaurants. Stop going down to the local Indian spot.
But it's
I
so
don't
good,
know.
James. It's so good.
Right.
It's so
I
good,
mean,
man. Yeah.
so but I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
like,
you as an American, you can only eat hamburger and hot dogs so much, right? You gotta venture out, right? Yeah.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we have these ideologies that, okay, well, they are coming over here and they're being racist. They're only hiring Asians for Asian restaurants. I mean, let's just have this conversation really quick. Not something that we have to dive into, but have you went to a lot of actual or authentic Mexican restaurants and seen black people working there, or other? Have you seen an Asian work in a Mexican restaurant? Have you went into an Asian restaurant and seen a Mexican working there? I'm just asking. That, I mean, is that something that is happening? If they're creating these jobs, are they creating these jobs for everybody or just their own culture? I mean, that's just way to look at it.
Hey, James, I'll be honest with you, man. I've never paid attention. Like honestly, I've never paid attention. Like I'm assuming if I go to an authentic Mexican restaurant, yes, it's mom and dad in the back. We have an Indian cuisine restaurant that we go to that we love, and it is absolutely, like, it's obvious it is their family that's working there, right? But when I go to other restaurants like a Chinese place or something like that, I'm not paying attention to those things. Now when I go, obviously I'm going to start looking because we just had this conversation. I'll be like, oh yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's 6-1, stuff like that. But I don't know, like on the insurance side, on the real estate side, right? Like, we want our children to not necessarily become us, but hey, get your insurance license, get your real estate license, but go to college, or, become a doctor, become an attorney, whatever it is that you want to do. I mean, so we do want to, like, house them. Like, you're like your daughter, you want her not to buy her fancy car. You want her to buy a property to gain passive income. So, you want to keep her in the house to better herself. So I can't knock them for hiring, if this is what's happening, their own people, simply because they're like, hey, I have this opportunity, let me help you. It's just like what you and your wife do. It's just
True.
my wife and I do, right? Like, I mean, it's just human nature. But now I will be counting heads when I go in because I'm like, oh, I'm taking a poll here, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna open your eyes a little bit. Be like, hey, what's going on here? But no,
I'll report back in a week or so.
but Ms. Howard said immigrants also come here and get food stamps, free medical care, and some of those resources we can't qualify for, but our tax dollars are at work. By keeping Democrats in power, they further a globalist agenda and they knock minorities out of the labor force and become the uh and they become the new useful idiots. Okay, I mean, I'm okay with people becoming useful idiots. Correct. Yes, they come here and create jobs for themselves. I mean, again, that's that narrative we was just mentioning. Like, they come here and create jobs for themselves? And hold on real quick, Daniel, because I know we only got a few minutes here, and I want to make sure I add this. One of the reasons why our GDP is so low is because, one, people are not having as many workforce kids that they used to. Most people are waking up these days and realizing having kids is hurting their own growth. So they're removing themselves from having 4 and 5 kids. So our overall economic growth has declined significantly over the last 10 to 15 years. Like, China is at how many billion, and we're literally only at 400 or 500 million. This is a decline in our growth rate. Now, we may in some ways say, okay, if you look at the overall picture, we have grown a lot, but honestly, we haven't. We haven't really gotten that far in life when it comes to our economic growth and our skill sets. People are not going to college anymore. Everybody's becoming an entrepreneur, which is fine, but we don't have people heavily invested in those STEMs and those criteria as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We're not having a heavy upload in those sectors. And also, when it comes to having foreigners come over here and live, or they come here and they start to become a part of our society, they spend money. Now, I'm not saying they spend money with us, but they spend money. And with that being said, they're going to our malls. Over the past 2 years, our travel to be a travel destination has dropped 79% since 2020. People are leaving America, going to other cities and other countries on vacations 3 or 4 times a year, while less and less people are coming over here to visit and spend their money. So we have to do something, and I think this is a part of that plan to do more when it comes to our economic growth in America, is by allowing more immigrants to come in, allowing more foreigners to come in and be a part of our economic growth. So that's my opinion, and that's just
no. I agree with you, James. I mean, there is a plan in place. Whether it's right or wrong, whether you believe in it or you don't believe in it, like they've got to do something, right? Because it definitely has decreased the amount of money that is coming into America, right? What was the last holiday? I know you don't like holidays. What was the last time? Was it Memorial Day?
more
right?
day.
So that is the first time Memorial, the traveling that happened that holiday weekend was the highest since 2020, I believe it was.
Wow.
Right. So they're having to do something to get people here, to get people out, to spend more money, stuff like that. So, it definitely is crazy. I just saw this morning, I read that American Airlines is, no longer giving you your first bag. It's $75. Your second bag's $100. And then third one's $200. Like they're trying to put some money back in the country, I guess, but it's a little crazy.
Yep.
So.
All right, man. Well, with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. It was a great show. I enjoy you all. And honestly, if you enjoy the show, please hit the like button and the subscribe button and notification bell if you're on YouTube, so you can be notified every time we go live. If you're on Facebook, please tag someone that could benefit from this conversation, or drop a comment below. Other than that, I want to say thank you all for the support. This was episode number 44, and we're going to keep moving. Other than that, have a great day. Just see you soon.
And I do believe in aliens. James does not.
I do not. Not yet.